Hello, welcome back to the second video of our Introduction to IELTS Writing Task course. This time, I'm going to cover two more points, namely the scoring system IELTS uses and the writing criteria for assessing your essays. First off, we'll zoom in to IELTS scoring system. For all skills, meaning reading, writing, speaking, and listening, IELTS measures your English proficiency by using a scale from 0 to 9, 9 being the highest native speaker level. Between the scores of 6 and 5, for example, there is also 5.5, which is essentially not good enough for a 6, but also better than a 5. Likewise, we can also see 6.5, 7.5, and so on. However, basically there is no pass or fail because different universities and different subjects require different levels of proficiency. For example, it's well known that social science like media studies, psychology, management typically requires higher writing score, whereas natural science such as physics, biology, and math is usually happy to take band 5.5 and 6. Nevertheless, it may differ from institution to institution, as can be seen in the case of top universities like Cambridge and University of Sydney, which ask higher band scores for nearly all their programs. To get a better understanding of what these different scores mean, pause the video and read the explanation here. Yes, I only show the scores from 5 to 9 because, as latest research shows, no one in Indonesia really got 4. So, what do you think your writing score is? We'll need that score that you have in mind, so don't forget that yet. Anyway, while we talk about the score, what is it that IELTS examiners are looking for? The second part of the video will dig into this question. Both Task 1 and Task 2 are assessed independently. The second task carries more weight in marking than the first. The key criteria for both tasks are content, structure, vocabulary, and grammar. Of course, these are the simplified terms that I use to make them easier for you to understand. The official criteria are shown on this page, where content is called task achievement, structure labeled as coherence and cohesion, vocabulary instead is replacing lexical resource, and grammar is still quite similar as the official one. Let's look into each of them. To begin with, content criterion assesses how the response fulfills the requirements set out in the task, using at least 150 words for task 1 and 250 words for task 2. The information you write should be relevant, appropriate, and on point. Both task 1 and task 2 have separate descriptors for the content. However, we won't go into details here as these will be further explained in our next courses. So for task 1, you can read how examiners distinguish band 5 from 6, 7, or 8. I'll pause so you can spot the differences. If you fail writing enough words for any of the tasks, then this criterion will be heard the most. Also, if you write any text that is not relevant to the question, you can also expect low score. Anyway, be my guest and read the differences between the scores. As for the next criterion, structure is concerned with the overall organization and logical development of your essay. In other words, how you organize and link the information, ideas, and language. Your ideas must be flowing logically while at the same time well connected in and between the sentences. We can use some linking words like furthermore, therefore to sum up. However, there are more to structure than these. To know more, please spend some time reading this slide. Moving on, the third criterion checks your understanding of English words in general. Some test takers think you need to show advanced vocabulary to get high score. But what you need to know is that when the words are not used correctly, you can even get lower score than if you just use the usual words in everyday context. This is because words must be accurate and appropriate as well. Other than that, wrong spelling can also reduce your chance of getting the score you need. Another thing to be careful of is how we pair words. For example, only one pair of words is correct here, and which one do you think? Big rain or heavy rain? It's interesting to know that even though both the words big and heavy are adjectives, which can theoretically explain the noun rain, in reality, only the adjective heavy is suitable with the noun rain. So, in general, test takers should prepare for learning more words to get good IELTS score. To compare the differences between the scores, you can pore over the descriptors here. The last criterion is grammar, and it is probably the easiest one to guess. You probably already know that English language has more grammatical rules than Indonesian language. It has specific tenses, whereas Indonesian doesn't have strict rules on these. Furthermore, Indonesian language doesn't have the rule to change any part of the word, similar to English rules of gerunds or plural forms. Clearly, to get desirable score, we need to avoid making too many grammar mistakes. And as teacher with more than 10 years of experience, I am particularly aware of the kinds of mistakes students often make. Again, to get a sense of the differences, I'll let you read on the slides here. So, to wrap up, knowing the score band range and the assessment criteria help what areas you are still short of and how much effort you need to spend so you can get the desired outcome. In the next video, you'll learn common pitfalls and how to manage your expectation of your writing score. Don't forget to take the pre-test for the tasks before you book our live sessions to discuss your specific needs, strengths, and pain points. See you in our next video.